big ups to him. He came out there and he did what he needed to do. Not the kind of fight that I would have wanted with all the hype. It wasn't a very fun fight to watch for anyone.
Sean Strickland's coach, Eric Nexick, just went in on the potential showdown with Khamzat Chimaev. Hold up, he started by revisiting old sparring stories from when the two trained together. But he was clear, those moments stay in the gym, not fodder for public trash talk. Nick then challenged the usual narrative that champions need a set number of title defenses before moving up a weight class. He argues it's perfectly fine for fighters to chase the toughest fights, even if that means jumping divisions, especially in today's UFC, where legacy matchups and massive paydays often dictate the moves. He noted that the sport has shifted, pointing to guys like Islam Makhachev and others who prioritize the hardest matchups over holding belts for years. That said, the coach sounded genuinely hyped about the idea of Strickland versus Chimaev. He mentioned the fighters know each other from those past sessions and believes Sean's relentless cardio, constant pressure, and high-volume style could be the exact kind of test that overwhelms Khamzat. The team sees it as a high-stakes, winnable war that plays perfectly to Strickland's strengths. Let's hear Nick Sick break down the potential clash.
Prize of being a champion at the time was making that pay-per-view money. Now with the new landscape of Paramount, I don't know how all that stuff works, but at the end of the day, these guys are competitors and they want to fight against the best, no matter the weight class. So I applaud Khamzat in wanting to challenge himself and in moving up, and same with Islam and Ilya and all these guys. It's just whoever the best matchup they can make the most money on, I think, is now more over the concept rather than, winning the belt. Khamzat, the things that he does so well is the space between the notes. He's showing level change. He feints very well. If we do get that fight, how can we shore those things up? Is being defensively sound and not biting on a lot of the level changes, but you also have to make sure that you are applying midline defense, anti-wrestling strikes, things of that sort, frames, not allowing Khamzat to get chest to chest. There's a lot of things I think we have to do.
Flyweight champ Joshua Van didn't hold back on a recent podcast, going straight for Manel Kape. Listen to this. Van called him corny and cringe for the way he talks, but also admitted Kape might be the toughest fight in the division right now, which is exactly why he wants it. The champ revisited the history between them. He said Kape publicly called him out, the UFC offered the fight, and Van accepted on short notice without hesitation, only for Kape to turn it down, something Joshua says doesn't scream champion mentality. Even though Van versus Tatsuro Kaira is now official for UFC 327 on April 11th in Miami, marking his first title defense, he made it clear that stylistically he still sees Manel Kape as the real threat. He highlighted Kape's one-punch knockout power, explosive style, and overall danger level as the reasons he wants that matchup. Tyra earned his shot by finishing Brandon Moreno, so the fight makes sense competitively. Former champ Alexander Pantoja has been back in the gym for weeks, aiming for a UFC return this summer, ready to challenge whoever holds the belt. All right, let's break down exactly what Van had to say.
When it comes to talking crap before a fight.
Manel.
Oh shit! Manel's actually a nice guy. I had him on the podcast. He loves food, fine dining.
Yeah, he's fat ass.
Oh my
God. That's why he gets weight.
He really wants the Manel fight.
Yeah. Outside of Pantoja, you think Manel is the biggest challenge for you?
For sure, man. All joke aside, like he is, I think, one of the toughest in our division as of right now. So that's the reason why I want to fight him next. You know what I mean? And the thing is, he been talking too much shit.
Yep.
What's he say about you?
I don't, like, he called me out, but then they offered him a fight, and then he said no. And then
he called you out, then they offered, then he said no.
Yeah. And I wasn't even training. They called me. They was like, hey, you want to fight? I was like, do I want to fight? Yes, of course, I want to fight, right?
So you and Manel were supposed to happen at UFC 320.
In a recent YouTube clip, Khamzat Chimaev gets submitted and injured in training. Georgian MMA figure Vako Ginglia sat down with former bantamweight champ Merab Dvalishvili and brought up a wild moment involving Khamzat Chimaev and fellow Georgian Roman Dolidze. Listen to this. Vako explained that Guram Kutatelza once shared a story with him but refused to make it public. However, Guram apparently passed it along to Merab instead. Curious, Vako pressed Dvalishvili for the full details during their chat, eager to find out exactly what went down between Chimaev and Dolidze. I've got to ask you this, Merab. Guram said he told you the story about Khamzat and Roman sparring. Can you share how it went? The fans are dying to know. Well, we were training, right? Khamzat was at our gym, and Roman and I were all rolling together at Extreme Couture. I was sparring with someone when suddenly I heard this ear-piercing scream of agony. I look over, and Khamzat is absolutely raging, punching the wall and glaring around like a man possessed. Then I glance at Roman, and he's strutting like he just won a title. A few minutes later, I see Khamzat sitting with his knee iced and wrapped up. Here's the deal. Roman caught him in a knee bar. Khamzat refused to tap, got furious, and ended up injuring his knee in the process. He's still dealing with that knee issue and wears a sleeve because of it.
Big ups to him. He came out there and he did what he needed to do. Not the kind of fight that I would have wanted with all the hype. It wasn't a very fun fight to watch for anyone. I got bored in the fight and I was in there, to be honest. But he did what he had to do to win that belt. I mean, that is, if that's the way that you are gonna go, well, good for you. I mean, it's different strokes.
He negated everything you could possibly bring.
Yeah, 100%. He made sure he stayed out of danger, and he fought that fight, and he almost neutralized me in making it a fight, because if we made it a fight, it would have been a different story. But he knew that, so he was smart in that. So, frustrating, absolutely. But like I said, the speed bumps, that's what makes me better. Now I know the little piece of this puzzle where I need to work on, and believe me, in my next performance, you will see me do that, exactly just that. Be a more.
Who do you want to see the champ take on next? Hold up, does a showdown with Chimaev catch your eye? Or maybe a high-stakes grudge match with Strickland to finally settle that rivalry once and for all? Or do you still want to see him move up and face Pereira? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.